Okay, Joe Mazumdar again, Exploration Insights back at PDAC 2016 doing the booth hopping. And now we've known that, we've had a few open pit mines in Ontario that were acquired back in the, when gold price was more like 1,500. What we're looking at is an exploration company that's again looking at open pit mining in Ontario at grades around 2 grams. So to speak about the company, Red Pine, and the project is Blake Mclaughlin. Hi, Blake.
Hi, Joe. How you doing?
How's it going?
Good,
so,
thanks.
what's the project that you've got going here with Red Pine?
Well, it's a shear-hosted gold deposit in Wawa, and it's a historic camp that we're trying to reignite.
Okay, and it's a historic camp, meaning it used to be underground and not.
Correct. There were 12 historic head frames on the property between 1912 and 1986, which have all been cleaned up since.
Okay, but we know that near Wawa is the Island Mine.
Correct.
that Richmont have,
Yes.
which is underneath and to the side of the Magino project.
Right.
So is yours any like either one of those in terms of geology?
Our project kind of is a composite of both. The shear-hosted deposit near surface has high-grade components to it.
And when you say high grade, what kind of grades are you talking?
Generally, we constrain our high-grade resource to a cutoff of 2.5 grams.
Okay. And when is this mineralization and grade change much to depth?
It does. It's not so much depth control though. It's more variable within the shear, and it's the high-grade mineralization is concentrated within ore shoots.
Within the main shear zone?
Within the shear plane, exactly.
And have you been able to map out the orientation of the high-grade ore shoots?
We have to date. We've been able to map out the high-grade stuff that has been drilled historically. We're starting to gain better control on what are controlling these ore shoots. And that's part of where we're moving forward.
So right now, what's your resource?
Right now our resource is just over 1 million ounces at 1.7 grams.
And then so these high-grade ore shoots compose how much of those ounces, would you say?
The high-grade ore shoots probably compose about 75% of the resource, yeah.
Okay.
When you look at the 43101 and the sensitivity analysis, you can see there is a significant high-grade component to the resource.
Okay, and so you're looking at, we had underground, and now we're looking at open pit, and so what comes to mind is, geez, this is going to be a high strip ratio. So what are you looking at to try and resolve that risk?
Well, currently we're working on resampling. We have 42,000 meters of historic core on site and was weekly sampled and weekly recognized mineralization in the hanging wall. And we're working on resampling that to try and bring it into the resource.
Okay, so that's your next steps.
Correct.
And so what would be your next catalyst coming up?
Our next catalyst really would be initiating some funds. And once we get through this core, we're going to have to model these structures to be able to define consistent structures that host the mineralization to reincorporate them into a new resource model. Okay,
and the way this looks is like a shear zone going like this, and you would take out an open pit. The problem is the strip up here.
Correct.
And then you're trying to look for a high grade, not high grade, but other mineralization that's coming off of the main shear zone.
Yeah, historically they really only sampled the main shear.
And they drilled it vertically.
And they drilled it vertically. But they drilled all these holes through the hanging wall, which is the strip right now.
Right.
And they recognized mineralization, but they never constrained it, so it was never able to be included in a resource.
Right, because they were looking for underground and they were looking for the highest grade that they could get.
Correct.
Okay, so it's a completely different philosophy that drives what you're doing right now.
Yes.
Okay. Blake, thank you very much for introducing Red Pine to us.
Thanks,
I appreciate it very much. Cheers. So that was Red Pine looking at open pittable deposits in northern Ontario. And we've seen these open pittable deposits at a higher gold price. And I think right now I would still wait for a higher gold price till I think that these things become economic. So I'll probably hold off on this one.